for you. Well, hello, Catherine Blackwell. We won't reveal your real name. All right, so I'm gonna start chit-chatting, and eventually I assume other people will be joining. All right, so welcome to my full moon live. I hope you can hear me. My name is Ariel. My channel is called the Soft Life Oracle. Can you hear me? Catherine? Anyway, all right, so today is the full moon in Libra. It is a pink moon. If you follow astrology at all, the Libra moon is related to the planet Venus. And I would say that that's currently a strong theme in my life right now, is just drawing in more love and just things that fill your life with more love. And I have a couple announcements. So if you follow my Substack, yeah, the pink moon. If you follow my Substack, you will know that I have been working on developing my own tarot deck. So I'm also a student in traditional Chinese medicine. And when I was learning about traditional Chinese medicine, there's a lot of associations that were kind of difficult to remember. So what I did was I boiled them down into these fun little narrative stories involving the 5 spirits that I essentially turned into characters. From there, there's just been a lot of evolution in that. And I decided that I was going to develop a tarot deck that combines traditional Chinese medicine with the tarot. So yeah, it's really exciting. I just commissioned an artist like a couple days ago to make the first 5 cards for me. So they're going to be drawing them by hand, and it's really cool. We're going to have the Fool, which is represented by the character that has the metal element. There's going to be the Alchemist or the Magician, represented by the earth element spirit. Then there's going to be the Empress, which is the fire energy, the High Priestess, which is the water energy, and this one's funny. This is the wood energy, because in TCM there are actually 5 elements, not 4. But yeah, the wood energy, which he will be the Chariot card, because it's all about, actually this is a great time to talk about that, because this is spring. It's literally like the wood season, and wood is all about like growth and expansion and like moving forward, and like pushing through with that drive. So I feel like that really aligns, I guess, with the project that I'm working on. And here's my little flyer that I made. So that's the Fool card. That is the metal spirit. That is Poe. And yeah, I'm just like really excited about that. But anyway, let me pull a couple cards for the theme of the month. So I'm going to be using the Dream Ritual Oracle cards. Sorry, I keep moving around because the sun is like blinding me. That's a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, let me pull some cards for the upcoming season. This is the month of April. This is Aries season. So that is the fire energy. So what are some things that we should be paying attention to in this upcoming season change? I always like to ask the cards for some like advice. So I'm going to take the card that seems to be sticking out. So this is the barrier card. There we go. So I want to say I've never interacted with this card before. I've literally never pulled it from the deck. But initially, I want to say the thing I really like about it is I can see these like butterflies in the background, and it's already giving like spring energy. And so I think the question that I want to ask to you, the audience, is what are you currently like working towards? What is the barrier that is holding you back essentially from reaching those goals? Sometimes sometimes we create a lot of our own barriers. We really get in our head about things. And if I think maybe if you evaluate it, like I like to say this thing where it's like, don't like don't like remove yourself from the equation until you're kind of like forced from the equation. Like don't eliminate yourself from the game before you even played it. I think a lot of people do that, especially when it comes to creative projects. They just let their doubt get in the way and they stop doing it like even before they get started. But the thing is, if you have that like wood energy and you keep pushing forward, like you might be surprised by what you're capable of doing. And I think that when it comes to creative projects and things that you aspire to be or do, the really important aspect is like the relationship with yourself. So, like, that's the most important part about the project. It's not do a million people like it. It's not any of those things. It's like looking at something that you made and being like, wow, like I'm really proud of myself that I made that I worked through these rough patches or these rough spots and like I persevered essentially. But so I'm gonna see what it says in here because it could have a completely different interpretation. I think it actually is a full moon card too, so I find that cool. This deck has different like moon phases. Barrier. Okay, so it says qualities: self-discovery, illuminate, opportunity, progression, transformation. So it says there's a link between the full moon and increased risk of nightmares, but instead of fearing these night frights, welcome the opportunity they offer to illuminate an aspect of your life that you are not acknowledging or dealing with effectively in your waking life, but which you urgently need to for your personal transformation. So I think that's what I was saying is like looking at the thing that evaluating your life and reflecting and like what is really getting in my way right now. And then I think what it offers, which is funny, like most of these cards are just like essentially just paying attention to your dreams and um, seeing how they reflect things that you might be afraid of. All right, so that is that. For the people watching, does anybody want a reading tonight? Does anybody have a question that they would like to ask the cards? Yes, Catherine, please ask your question. It might be a little bit delayed, I'm starting to realize. What's next? Okay. Yeah, I see it. It's what's next. All right, so I'm pulling a card for you. So I'm gonna try to see like I'm really interested in seeing which one of the suits come out because you didn't give me an area of life as far as like what's next. So swords. Okay, 4 of swords. Okay. Okay, so this is the Four of Swords. So the interpretation of swords is usually thought. It's correlated with the air element. And the thing about the air element is much like thoughts, things tend to move really quickly. So there's a little bit of a like a slow transition when it comes to essentially like thinking of an idea before you reach like the full like manifestation of the idea. So this is telling me essentially that you are in a little bit of a cocoon, a little bit of a resting phase. So I'm going to ask what is the advice like during this phase? I'm gonna go with these three cards. Okay, so we're pulling the Ten of Cups. So traditional interpretation of this card is essentially like something coming full circle, like in your emotional life. I really like this card because it reminds me of love, Venus energy, with these two swans here. And the amazing thing about this card is it's like the cups are really like overfilling in this area. So it's talking about like emotional fulfillment. But you also pulled the Temperance card in reverse. So that's pointing to an aspect of your life that might need to be brought into more balance. Um, as well as the Tower card. Okay, so in the deck that I'm creating, traditionally the tower is represented by this like tree on fire. Like usually it's like a challenge. It's like a I would correlate it to like the number 5. Like 5 is all about transformational energy. And it's essentially like there's something coming up that is going to like push some type of change. But in the deck that I'm developing, I actually associated it with the organ in Chinese medicine, the pericardium. So in this like fictional world I essentially developed, it's like the pericardium gate. So my question for you is essentially, where do you feel like you're weak in your boundaries, right? Like, because that might be the thing that is essentially from preventing you from feeling this like type of state that you essentially wish to be in. Um, I'm getting a little bit of like you're kind of a little bit in a holding pattern, which isn't a bad thing. It's sometimes we just need to be in a little bit of a holding pattern just in order to rest before the next thing happens. So how did that reading land for you? Do you have more questions? Did you think it was like relevant at all? How to proceed? Okay. I love this reading. It's so vague. I have no idea what's going on in your life, but you're like, what's next? How do I move forward? So yeah, let's just turn to the cards. I be answering as soon as I'm asked. Okay, Catherine. All right. All right. So can you ask a little bit more of a like specific question? Um, if you feel like offering that information essentially to the audience. Oh my goodness. All right, so now cards are like popping out of the deck for you. Catherine's still not answering the question. Catherine? Catherine! Okay. So here's the Ten of Swords. You feel physically like you're in a holding pattern. Okay. So, all right, so I'm looking at this Ten of Swords, and what I want to say is that there's something that essentially has like disappointed you. And perhaps like that is why you're in this holding pattern. I kind of want to, okay, let me think. All right, so this is the Queen of Wands, and it was in reverse. So when I look at this, what I'm thinking is like maybe this is your archetype card, and the Queen of Wands is like really cool. So the Queen of Wands is like equal to fire, so like that's passion, drive, that's like creative projects, like things like that. So what it's telling me is like you're somehow a little bit like stagnated in your like creative process, or not even that. It's just in expression, in the way that you feel comfortable like expressing yourself like in your current life. And this is the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups always has something to do with decisions. Sometimes it has something to do with indecisions. And I think essentially it's just saying like you have a lot of options. You know what I mean? It's not like you're at a loss for options, but sometimes like you just have to choose something. You just have to start something. And I think this energy right here is like, so this is the Knight of Wands, so more fire energy. The Knight is always like the card with the most movement, right? It's a little bit naive, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. And when I look at this snake that's like peering up at this wand, it's almost like you're going to move when you see whatever it is you need to see that's going to make it like click for you. And also it feels just like it's very, very close to movement. I need my book. Okay, here it is. I want to figure out what their translation for the Ten of Swords is, because sometimes it's a completion of a cycle, but sometimes it's not. So it says an abrupt or devastating loss. There may have been signs that foretold its coming, or it may have been something completely unexpected. Either way, the destruction still comes as a shock. While this tragedy is no doubt painful, it can also be a catalyst for new life. Sometimes the brush needs to be cleared away so that the smaller plants can thrive. This card can be a difficult message to swallow. It means the end of something important. Backstabbing or betrayal may be involved. If there were signs given to flee, they went unchecked, and the result is a messy end. Getting up will be difficult, but surviving this loss will strengthen you for when you face the next one. So that is what this card was right here, the Ten of Swords. I'm wondering if you'll tell us now, like, what is that thing that like feels delayed to you? Is it in fact a creative project, or is it something else? Okay. Well, we're going to move on from that one. Something else. Okay. So I think that's okay. Like when the body feels stuck, like, okay, so we have the air element, which is like swords, and then we have pentacles, which is earth, which represents the body. And like compared to these two things, they're like opposite of the spectrum. So sometimes, like I said, our thoughts move quickly and the body moves slowly, right? And I would say that sometimes if you physically feel stuck, just take that as a sign to rest. Like you don't need to push past whatever this stuck feeling is. All right. So I'm going to do one reading for the upcoming month. She said an ambulance just drove by. That's funny because like the chariot was like literally sitting on the bottom of this deck, which is like movement. Like I would definitely relate that to like an ambulance. But sometimes that happens. Like sometimes life will like make you move, right? Like if there's a decision that you've been putting off and you feel stuck and you haven't been like pushing essentially towards the next phase, it's like sometimes something happens, some type of catalyst, some type of tower moment that essentially forces things into movement. And I don't say that to like create a sense of anxiety or anything like that, but it just goes to show like life will always continue moving essentially. Okay, so here is the last reading. So we have the Page of Cups with this lovely sea otter, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Stillness card. Okay, so this is telling me that the person this is meant for is like very uncomfortable with stillness, with lack of motion. What I really like about this energy, how do you work past it? What I really like about this energy is there's almost like a newness, like there's a new playful element in your life, like emotionally. Um, and it's really like really fun, kind of like fresh energy, something that's like bringing essentially like lightness to your life, like just some kind of levity, right? And I see like the Ace of Pentacles right here, and it's like what I hear is just like, oh, baby girl, just like don't worry. Like you're still like at the beginning of like there's those seeds that you planted, you might have forgotten about them, but they're still growing, and you just kind of need to chill out a little bit and like let them grow, right? Just like enjoy this time with this playful otter energy. Yeah, exactly. This flirtation. Enjoy your time with this. Trust that you're still moving forward in your direction as far as like things that you plan for your life and like your security and like stuff like that. And this is just a moment to just like chill out. So I would just say, just enjoy things for how they are right now, even if you're just a little bit uncomfortable. maybe with like how slowly things are moving. Okay. Like this essentially, this like little moment of levity should be a gift to you. This time bubble should be a gift to you. And it would just help if you like, if you saw it that way, right? If you just trusted that the things that are meant for you are going to come to you. And you don't need to force things to move, right? You just need to continue to work on this, essentially this feeling that you're fostering of like joy and like completeness, and life will start to gravitate you into those like opportunities or situations where you can essentially create more of that life force energy, right? um I'd say I see a lot of people like stuck in jobs and things like that, or even relationships, and it's like they don't know how to move forward. They think they have to do certain things. They're using this like outdated calculation of essentially how the world told you that you should be. um but that's not really what drives human beings, right? Like, because it's like inspiration and like kind of feeding that fire, like feeding that wand energy. It's like the complete perspective shift, and like you waking up super early, maybe you didn't get a lot of sleep, and it's like, but you're excited about something and there's something you really want to do. And it's like literally creating like that life force energy and like propelling you forward versus, I think I need to do this thing for my security because people told me so. And it's just like it's a completely opposite energy. And one is literally like shrinking you and shrinking your life force, and the other one is expanding it. And when you have that like expansive energy, that's when you have like opportunities. That's like when you feel like you can keep going, right? So you always just have to like look at your day to day and all the little aspects of like work or this or that, and being like, this gives me more energy. This is taking my energy. And you keep kind of like refining it. And the goal is essentially just to push you like into the flow of like your own life force essentially, and kind of being like taken away with that wave, right? So always just ask yourself like, in what situations am I shrinking my life force energy? Maybe because I think I should, or because someone told me that I had to, or that was the right way, or the moral way, or whatever, versus like, what is something that's a little bit interesting in my life right now? What is something that makes me curious, that like attracts my attention, right? And it's kind of about like feeding that curiosity and like feeding that fire. Um, So yeah, just enjoy your time right now and trust the more that you play, the more you're going to run into these opportunities that are actually nourishing for your energy. All right. So, yeah, this is April. I'm going to be back here a month from now doing a live. Maybe I'll have somebody else on the show with me just for fun. Um, but I'm anticipating that a month from now, I will have those prototype cards for the first 5 cards of my deck, and I will get to show them to you, and we can just talk a little bit about the symbology and the cards and the breakdowns. If you don't know, I'm on Substack. More of my detailed work goes out. I publish a new moon reflective newsletter. A lot of people seem to really enjoy that. I have a lot of classmates that are in my newsletter. Um, and yeah, and then you'll get notifications for when I go live again or when I drop something new. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your energy. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the little heart emojis. I will see you next month. And be sure to follow your intuition and to follow the moon.